What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Mose Hawk here, and I'm going to do my video response to Mr. Linx77. He challenged myself, the rest of the Z family, Seymour Z, Three Bones, Heathen Rider, for all of us to do, the 10 things we hate about our Z1000s. So let me go ahead and get started. So, first thing I hated very much about my Z1000, and pretty much I think the first four things are gonna all have one thing in common, and I'll tell you afterwards. So the first thing I hated about my Z1000 was the stock mirrors, and as you can see, they're in this position, the off the bike position, for a reason. They sucked. These things were so horrible that all I could see was pretty much my elbows when they were on my bike. And not only that, they just were like ugly. In addition to the non-functioning list, if you look at the bike, like the bike looks sexy, sleek, it's nice. And then those mirrors mounted on them, like, here, let me pick it up for you guys. You can see this. It just looks kind of like a tumor just stuck on there. Like, it's just absolutely ugly, and these things stood out. And for something to be that ugly and not functional, I just could not deal with it. So the second thing I'd have to say I hated the most was this thing. This is the stock whale tail that came on Emira when I first bought her. And I fixed that with the Moto Dynamics tidy tail kit and the integrated turn signal light, which I put a video out on. But I hated the whale tail just because, like I said, that's another thing that was really an eyesore. It was something else that did not flow with the lines of the bike. It didn't make the bike look any better. Like, all it did was make the bike look worse. And for, what I would say, in my opinion, was no reason. Like, they could have made a tidier mount. I don't know why they don't do that. Never researched why they don't do that. Why all bike manufacturers don't do that, but that whale tail was completely ugly. So next thing I hated about my Z, that I also changed, were these stock levers. The stock bike levers that came on here, they were just like way too long. I mean, for my hand. Just, I don't know why, but I like the idea of these shorty levers. They feel so much better. They work so much better. And just with like braking in control, like I can get my whole, like, 2 fingers on that lever, and I feel like I just get the most, braking power out of that lever, just the most control out of a shorty lever. Have no idea as to why, but, I just, compared to having those now and those, I can honestly say I hated those damn things now that I know better. So the next thing I hated about my Z, which I also did a video when I changed, was the pipes. There's the old exhaust, completely intact. These things are heavy. And they're just like really bulky heavy. Like, after removing them from the bike, literally when I pushed Emma out of the door for the first time after the new Vance and Hines Urban Brawlers were installed, like I could feel the lightness. Like, it was weird. Like, when I stood the bike up, pushed out the door, it just felt lighter. It felt weirder. It didn't feel weird. It felt weird because it was lighter. Sorry, I misspoke. But anyway, I did not like the look of the stock exhaust, and I did not like the fact that it was so heavy and it weighed my bike down so much. So I changed it. It was the next thing to go off of, off the bike. So moving on. The next thing I hate about my Z1000 is the fact that the instrument panel in 2015, I don't have the key to show you guys, I don't have a gear indicator. I know this is kind of a little bit repetitive for Mr. Linx, but it's all true stuff. Like, in 2015, I don't know why I don't have a gear indicator on this motorcycle. I mean, I know people should say, like, you should know what gear you're in, but, it's 2015. You couldn't have put a gear indicator. Like, you went through all the work, Kawasaki, of putting anti-lock brakes on this bike, which I appreciate. But a gear indicator, like, that would have just been, like, one little piece of programming, probably extend this out a little bit and give me, like, a number on the side of what gear I'm in. I mean, probably would take a little bit more technological advancement, but it's not like the technology's unavailable and you've got to reinvent the wheel and shit. So, I mean, that's just me. Next thing I hate about my Z, I know this is also one that's been done to death, but the seat. This seat is extremely hard. Like I said, don't tell me it's repetitive, I know, but real Z1000 problems, man. This seat is extremely hard, and it just does not feel good. It's not a very comfortable seat. And I understand this is a sport bike, but there's no reason for this seat, and especially the passenger seat, to be this hard. Like I don't like it. And hopefully I will find a way to change that out and make it different. I've been looking at different seat options for better seats, and come tax time, that might be another thing that is ready to go. So one of the next things that I really do not like about the Z1000 would have to be the turn signals, the front turn signals. And here's why. After looking at the setup that Mr. Linx77 had, and after removing the whale tail, these signals, they just stick out too far from the bike, and they're another thing that just do not flow, in my opinion, with the lines of the bike. They don't look good. They look like the mirrors. They look like an ugly ass afterthought. I really do not like those. And I mean, for those people who say, it's a safety measure to have them out that far. I just rode with Mr. Ninja Rider, another moto vlogger. He has a Kawasaki 636 with flush mounted factory signals on his sport bike. Whenever you look at a lot of sport bikes now, I think, I just actually don't go, well, super sports. Actually thinking about it, a lot of them do have like the flush mount turn signals. And after seeing Linx77 setup where he put the flush mounts, and then he also had the LEDs up top there, the bike can just look better, and they could have done a better job. As far as design, as far as making this bike just come with flush mounted turn signals, so you wouldn't have these, just afterthought looking eyesore turn signals. So I really don't like that. That is a pet peeve of mine. Another thing that I really did not like about my bike, and I mean this one is probably a little bit nitpicky. The handlebars. So when I was, and this is another thing that's going to be in the swap pile, by the way, the stuff that has just been taken off the bike. I actually ordered some Renthal fat bars. The thing I didn't like about the handlebars were the fact that when I was going to shop for bar and mirrors and things like that, there's just a screw in here. There's not it's not a hollow metal bar. And that caused me a lot of issues when looking for things like bar ends and things like that. When I was shopping for bar ends, it seems that everything was supposed to go into a hollow bar. So I think it's just the fact that the bars just don't fit so many accessories as far as bar end mirrors or bar end sliders. And it's, I guess, a little difficult to find those custom pieces. I know, there are some grips that actually are meant to fit with hollow metal bars. I lucked out when I bought those bar end mirrors on Amazon. That sucked because one of them broke. But anyway, I lucked out and the screw just fit right in the threads. But I don't want to have to take a drill and just drill out the metal just to be able to fit bar end mirrors, which in my opinion, like I told everybody, are better in my opinion, and probably should be on every motorcycle. But another different conversation. But yeah, I didn't like that, and I think part of the back problems I was having. So like first of all, when I just got Emira, I just rode, I don't know how much, just too much. And I started noticing I was having back problems. And after talking with a couple of guys who own Z1000s, I think it was attributed to the handlebar positioning. You have more of an upright seating position. And I think primarily, what I've been told is because of the handlebars, the way they sit and the way that it, kind of pushes your body up, you put a lot more weight on your lower back, which I don't like. I noticed that I was having back problems after riding this bike. And I think it's just like a very strange in between a super sport where you can put all the weight on your legs, and I mean, you're in a bent over position, you put it on your legs and your wrists, and, on a cruiser, you can put all the weight on your ass. I think it's like these bars just give you a position where you are putting weight on your lower back. Feels more comfortable, but, I think over time, that could cause a little bit of an issue. But then again, that's coming from somebody like me who was riding a ridiculous amount. I think I put 3,000 miles on my bike in 3 months. And the fact that I live 15 minutes away from work just means that I was taking a long way. So, yeah, not necessarily the bike's fault. So the next thing I really do not like about my bike, and I'll be honest with you guys, at this point I am nitpicking because I overall do love my bike. So when I go to clean, lube, and adjust my chain, this is the chain guard to the bike, right? So I've got my first screw right here, and my second screw to get to the chain guard is literally right here. I don't know if it's showing up on camera, but this is the bracket for the Urban Brawlers. And right here, the screw is right behind it. And it was even worse with the stock exhaust over there. So when I go to clean, lube, and adjust my chain, just as far as where I can, I'd be just holding the brush over the sprocket. I feel like, maybe if the exhaust was, attached in another manner, that it would be easier to get the chain guard off, or if they just put the chain guard in a different place. And like I said, this is a little nitpicky, but I would like to remove that chain guard and, it be a little easier so I can more adequately clean my chain. I know, it sounds petty, but, if the chain guard was easier to get off, I would feel a lot better about that because, that way I would be able to clean it better. Clean, well-adjusted chain is a very good thing in my opinion. Probably to everybody else who has a chain-driven bike would agree with me. So, the last and final thing that I hate about my Z1000. Okay, y'all ready? Here it is. This right here is the only female that I can ride all day and my ass hurts. I don't think that's supposed to be the way it works. Never worked like that any other time. I mean, come on, that's not how it's supposed to, that's not how any of this works. Never ridden a woman in my life and my ass was the one that took the punishment. Never in my life. So, only woman ever, I mount her, my ass hurts. Something ain't working there. All right, guys. So if you are not riding, start riding. And if you are riding, keep riding. Peace. And shout out to my Z family. Y'all need to check out Naked Thursdays. Yes, I said Naked Thursdays. I think Mr. Seymour Z is going to be hosting next time. Keep up with my Instagram and I will be letting you guys know the deal. All right, guys. So now I'm really going to let you go. Peace.